Welcome to Cliffhangers and Cocktails podcast with
Amy Sissel and
Shéa McLeod, USA Today best-selling authors of paranormal women's fiction, among other things. And this podcast is brought to you, as always, by the Caftan Coven.
welcome to our mini pod where we discuss a single topic related to the craft, whether it be craft cocktails, witchcraft, or writing craft. Today's topic is cocktail craft. This is the third episode of our series called The Witch's Liquor Cabinet. And today we're going to be talking about some sweet, sweet spells. Woo!
Woo!
Oh, what does that mean, Shéa?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Amy. As you said, this is our third minisode or mini pod about this topic, and we already talked about, base spirits. We talked about mixers, yes. So now we're going to talk about syrups, and then syrups are the really sort of fun part, I think, about magical cocktail spell work. Because this is what adds sweetness, it adds flavor, and it adds that extra touch of magic. And they're really great because there's no alcohol in them typically in a syrup. Sometimes you might add some to make it last longer on the shelf or whatever, but typically speaking, there's no alcohol, which means you can make mocktails with these. You can make, other non-alcoholic drinks, put it in fizzy water and create your own soda pop. Or depending, like maybe put it in your coffee or something.
And if you want an example of a syrup that was used as a mocktail, you can go look at our Ostara episode where the cocktail was a spirit-free, no, it was free spirit.
Free spirit, yeah.
A limoncello fizz. And that had a syrup that had no alcohol in it.
Right. In place of limoncello that you would maybe normally put in a cocktail. But again, you could use that same syrup in a cocktail situation as well.
Oh, 100%.
So that's really, it's like a really sort of flexible sort of thing, part of cocktails. So essentially at the heart of it, there are concentrated mixtures of sugar or some other sweetener and water. And they're often infused with fruits, herbs, or spices that are used to add sweetness, texture, and complex flavor to drinks. They also add body as well. So that's why instead of your drink being like 1 inch of alcohol, you've actually got a full glass. So
can I tell a funny story about 1 inch of alcohol?
Yes, please do tell a funny story about 1 inch of alcohol.
Okay, so I made my cocktail for this episode, and we'll talk a little bit more about what it is. But I made my cocktail. I've made this cocktail before. This is not my first time making this cocktail. And I poured it into the glass, and I was like shaking the shaker, trying to get more out. Like, why is this glass so empty? It's because I forgot to put ice in my drink.
So in witchcraft specifically, so when we're turning just a plain old cocktail or mocktail into something magical, into a potion, syrups incorporate magical, seasonal, and intentional elements into mixology, which, remember again, it's all magic is about intention and adding complexity to your spell. So we've talked about Julia Halina Hadas before. She's our go-to girl for a lot of our
cocktails and mocktails. And
yeah, exactly. There's some others that I do research with, but she just has a brilliant grasp on it, and she and others like her have popularized this more and more within the witchcraft community. So basically, these creations that we're making, they align ingredients with specific energies, such as healing, protection, divination. Syrups become actually just like a really key ingredient to magical cocktail work. So when you're creating a spell with a cocktail or a mocktail. So first they enhance the energy of the base spirit. So you've picked your base spirit, whatever that may be, gin, vodka, whiskey, tequila, and we already know the energies that are in that specific base spirit. There's So depending on which of the energies you want to emphasize and enhance, there's going to be a syrup that will do that. For instance, if you're choosing gin, you want to do a cleansing spell. Well, lemon syrup will enhance the cleansing energies because it too carries that same energy. Second, they add complexity and subtlety to the spell. So let's say you want to do an abundance spell, so you chose rum for your base. So rum, as we've discussed, is associated with abundance, with love, success, joy, emotional warmth, and that's great. But like, say you have something very specific. You have a job interview coming up, so you want success with that interview. So if you add the right syrup, it can bring out that specific energy from the rum. So like maybe something with plums, because plums carry the energy of ambition, career growth, and success in professional endeavors. I've never tried plum syrup with rum. But, I might have to experiment a little bit there. So you're looking for that energy that enhances or adds to your base. Finally, they add balance to your spell work with the sweetness and acidity that they bring. So it's, you can just do straight up whiskey if you want to. Honor your Celtic.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep, honor your Celtic ancestors there. But this brings that extra. We're talking about the different kinds of syrup. So obviously the most basic is the simple syrup, which is just equal parts water and white sugar dissolved. You can also do what they call a rich simple syrup, is where it's 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. I don't typically use those syrups as much, but every once in a while you'll come up with a cocktail that calls for it. You can also do, when you're doing that 1-in-1, it's such a good thing. Know about that 1-in-1 ratio, because you can use raw sugar if you want like a richer flavor. You can do honey, molasses, agave, any kind of sweetener, 1-on-1 with water. You've got like an array of flavors. And then there's orgeat, is an almond-based syrup they use for tiki drinks, I guess. You got Grenadine, which is the pomegranate-based syrup, which we use a lot in our magical cocktails. We're both very fond of pomegranate. And then like there's ginger syrup, which is infused with fresh ginger for that spicy, bright kick. You can also make like cinnamon syrup. Basically, any kind of fruit or herb you could think of can be made into a syrup. Passion fruit, raspberry, lavender, mint, anything. First exposure to making syrup is, so I never had maple syrup growing up. Not real maple syrup.
No, you get the weird stuff from the grocery store.
Right, which I had at my grandparents. They always got like I think it was Mrs. Butterworth's or something like that. This like mostly
probably had generic.
Yeah,
Butterworth,
which is basically corn syrup. It's corn syrup with maple flavoring. But my mom didn't even do that, because my mom is a very frugal person. What she did is she nuked some water in the microwave, pour in the sugar, so she made simple syrup, and then added fake maple flavoring. And that's what I grew up with for maple syrup. That's what we called maple syrup. And, I was an adult before I had actual maple syrup that had ever seen a tree. Like a maple syrup.
I probably was too. Like, I'm imagining that, well, maybe at diners when we'd go and have pancakes or whatever.
They probably had fake stuff, though, probably back then.
I was going to say, I don't know. It might have been fake.
Even the fake, the cheap stuff, like, I only had that, like, at my grandparents'. Otherwise, it was maple-flavored sugar water.
So how do you know how to choose the right syrup? As I was trying to decide what I was going to make, because we don't make the same things for this, just based on, first of all, bringing y'all a variety of things.
Yes.
But also, I don't always have access to the same things that Shéa does now that we're separated by...
a land mass and some water.
Yeah, a big water.
Yeah, big water. It's just like when you're choosing your base spirit. You want to ask yourself, what's my intention for this spell? What magical elements and energies support that intention? Do I need clarity? Do I need creativity, good luck, connection? Then you can, once you've set your base spirit for that direction, or maybe a spirit that has several different directions you could go, then you focus on bringing that specific energy with the syrup. So if you don't know the magical energies behind, which believe me, I do not know all of them off the top of my head. I know a few, but like Julia Halina Hadas that we talked about before, in her books she does list out some of them, magical correspondences of different fruits and herbs and things. And there's other books that carry that too. So if you have like an encyclopedia, or if you look up like, you know, their websites or something, I'm sure there's some good websites out there. And that will give you the correspondence, and then you can go, okay, this is a good one for me. And also you want to make sure they taste nice together too. Like, you know, I probably would not put, for instance, coffee liqueur into a gin and tonic. That doesn't...
I also would not do that.
Think about, like, maybe you're like, oh, but coffee liqueur is the perfect energy. Well, then maybe you should pick another base syrup, or maybe find something that has the same energy or similar energy. And every part of the syrup, remember, is important. So the sweetener, they all bring sweetness. Honey, for instance, will bring healing, beauty, and purification, and is used in potions for love, lust, happiness, and wisdom. Whereas sugar is more, because it's got different energies from being refined, from being from a plant. It's a little bit more, I suppose, generic as far as what sweetness and attraction you're bringing. And like a brown sugar that still carries like more of that sugar cane would be bringing in like money and luck and things like that. So that's the first thing to think about. Obviously the herbs and spices that, like for instance, when I make just regular simple syrup, I usually will throw in a bay leaf. Mm-hmm. Just let it sit, let the bay leaf just hang out in the simple syrup. It doesn't add a lot of flavor, but it adds just this little punch, because they're really potent, these bay leaves, for protection, manifestation, purification, success, and they're used to manifest wishes, enhance psychic abilities, promote healing, foster courage. So they're like kind of a multi-purpose little herb. So just throwing that in there, the simple syrup is going to carry that essence that will go with whatever you're manifesting. So without making everything taste like a bay leaf.
They're a nice subtle.
Yeah, they are.
Subtle add to a lot of things, but they really do make a difference.
You might add a pinch of salt. Some people will add a pinch of salt just to kind of like bring out more complexity of flavor, add that purification element. Basically, experiment, have fun. But we're going to make a couple of syrups. How's about that?
No. Actually, that's what we're doing.
That's what we're here for. So Grenadine, we use this in so many of our cocktails. It's so versatile, it's powerful, it's delicious. And I was really curious about, because people always ask, oh, is Grenadine cherry? And I can see where they get that.
It's pink.
Because it's pink. And most of the inexpensive grenadines that you find at the store are just like flavored corn syrup. So I was very curious about where the name came from. And so grenadine actually comes from the French word grenade, which means pomegranate.
Kind of looks like a grenade.
It does. Which may be where we get the name grenade. So hence grenadine. As we've talked about, with other episodes, pomegranates are potent. Yes, Amy.
Orgeat.
Orgeat. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. That sounds fancy too.
I looked it up and then immediately was like letting you finish what you're talking about and then forgot.
But we talked about spring in our Ostara episode, and about we touched briefly on pomegranates, but we've talked about pomegranates a lot before, how they're potent magical symbols of fertility, abundance, prosperity, and the cycle of life, death, rebirth, and they're deeply tied to the myth of Persephone. Pomegranates in magic are used to manifest wishes. They're used to stick out a pomegranate and a witch will appear.
Awesome.
I love it.
Oh my god, it's like better Christmas.
It's like, instead of milk and cookies for Santa, it's like, put out a pomegranate and there's a witch.
Pomegranates on my balcony?
Woo! Okay, manifest wishes.
Wow.
Wishes.
Also good.
Also
Also
good.
good.
Also good. Enhance divination and provide protection. And they're often linked to Samhain and divine feminine energy. So, woohoo! Uh, and as we said, in Portugal, they have a good pomegranate season, so you can get fresh ones, which is really the best way to make a grenadine. But in the Pacific Northwest, which is not known for its pomegranate season, I recommend getting an unsweetened pure pomegranate juice if that's in your witchly budget. If not, whatever you got is fine. You do you.
I do
Remember.
want to. Also want to say that like the difference between looking at a pomegranate syrup made with pomegranate juice, like what
Mm-hmm.
Shay is going to show you right now,
Mm-hmm.
and looking at a pomegranate syrup made with fresh juice that you milked from the tiny pomegranate seeds yourself with teeny tiny little tweezers, is there's going to be a lot deeper color and the grenadine you get from the juice because that's
Yeah.
more concentrated
Yeah.
than and I never have I could concentrate it, but I don't have the patience for that.
Right. And this is
Maybe
pre-concentrated.
when it like rolls around again, I'll try to make some concentrated pomegranate juice so I can make some dark syrup. But
So I bought this grenadine online, and it was all natural ingredients, real pomegranate. It was gorgeous. And I think it was made with fresh pomegranate juice, not concentrated. So it had a much lighter flavor, and you couldn't taste the pomegranate as well. But this I used a pure pomegranate. So as you can see here, if you're watching on YouTube, I just reused the bottle. I got this nice, rich, deep ruby pomegranate color. Ruby pomegranate, there we go. So I just used 1 part of unsweetened pomegranate juice, 1 part granulated sugar, and then most of the recipes I was finding called either for 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or 1 teaspoon of orange blossom water, which I thought was interesting. And they just use it to sort of enhance the flavor. I decided to try orange blossom water because I happen to have some, so why not?
wow,
Yeah, basically what I did. Now, the directions here have you put it in a saucepan and slowly simmer it over medium heat and don't boil it and and I'll put up all the recipe. But honestly, I've said this before and I will say it again. When it comes to witchcraft, I'm a little bit on the lazy side because I don't have the spoons to do all the things. So I just put
does it with her heart, y'all.
I did it with my heart. I put the juice in the microwave and yes, I did. And then when I brought out the heated up juice, I stirred in the sugar and the orange blossom water and stuck it in this bish. When I made it, I didn't add any intention or energy when I made it other than just good positive vibes, because until I use it actually in the potion, because it has so many different layers of energies to focus on, I wait. So I've got my lovely little gin with ice half melted. I'm just gonna measure with my heart. Ooh, how pretty is that? A little bit more.
Very pretty.
I haven't even tasted
I want to
this.
go make one of those.
I haven't even tasted. Yeah, now I'm just gonna add a little bit of tonic on top. So it's basically a G&T with pomegranate. Let's see how this tastes.
Pretty.
Oh man, that's yummy.
Pomegranate and gin go real well together flavor wise.
They really do. A bit more, and you can just adjust it to taste. I don't even have. Yeah, I'm totally doing this with my heart, y'all, because.
She's channeling me. I measured everything tonight.
But this is beautiful. So it was really simple to make. I actually made a little video of me making it, and I will put that up on something. I don't know, Instagram or
It'll
something.
be up on our YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
And probably hit the reels and everything.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I just got the balance right. So basically, there you go. That's grenadine. That's how simple that is, and it's actually pretty cost effective. And obviously for you, probably more than me, because you're getting those fresh ones. But even just buying some pomegranate juice, yeah.
Well, how much? Like, did you buy one of those little bottles of the brand of pomegranate juice I would assume one would buy.
Well,
For their natural
the inexpensive one is like, I don't know, $4, $5. It's not expensive at all. This little bottle, when I bought it with pre-made, it was $20.
And how much was a bottle of the pomegranate juice that you purchased to make this?
Less than $8, and I used about half of it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That is very cost effective.
Exactly. So it's now in the realm of what you would pay for the inexpensive fake stuff.
And it doesn't matter which, like if you have the inexpensive stuff or the homemade stuff or the expensive stuff, they're all going to last about the same time in the fridge.
Yeah.
The one thing about making it yourself is you can control how much you make. So that can make it even more cost effective if you're only doing it for a few drinks.
Right.
Or if you need a whole bunch, you don't have to have it sitting in your fridge till it goes off.
I made a good batch of this, about 1 cup to 1 cup. But I could, because I wanted to fill the bottle, and I knew we'd use it because I like to use a lot of pomegranate syrup when I make a drink. But you
put it on your pancakes.
Why not? But you can make like half a cup and half a cup. Because I have sometimes when we've done cocktails for the pod, I have made just enough syrup for like 2 cocktails, one for me and one for the butler. Oh,
it'd be nice of you to make enough for your butler.
I know, isn't it? I'm just a really giving, caring person. You know?
You are.
I am. So now we're going to talk about, this is one of Julia Halina Hadas's from her Witchcraft cocktail book, and which I love. And I was going to show a copy of it, but of course I left it upstairs. It is my go-to cocktail. It's how I first learned to make magical cocktails. I highly recommend it.
There's a picture of it on our Instagram.
Yes, there is
as well as a link to Julia.
Yes. I love her. She is amazing and talented. So this is her bergamot ginger syrup. Now, I've made some tweaks to it based on what I happen to have. This is great with old fashions. It goes very well with whiskey or bourbon. It also works with dark rum. It's very strongly aligned with magical workings involving money, clarity, and success. So with this one, I'm going to add the intent directly into the syrup, as well as whatever drink I make from it in the future. So you have some hot water. I boil it with my kettle, okay? And then I'm going to do...
You're going to say you boiled it with your heart?
Yeah, I boil it with my heart.
Right on.
My heart is steamy. So now I have, this is a this is a bag of Earl Grey. This is actually decaf because my butler is very sensitive to caffeine. He can't have caffeine. And so you can do decaf or you can do just regular caffeinated. It doesn't matter. But, you know, if you happen to be in a situation where you or someone that you're going to be having this with cannot drink caffeine, there is decaf Earl Grey. Sometimes I use Paris tea.
I love Paris tea from Harney Teas.
Yes, from Harney Teas. This is also...
Sponsor us.
Yes, please. This Earl Grey is also from Harney and Sons. What we're looking for is the bergamot as well as the tea. So the Paris tea is a little bit more complex because it's got like vanilla and things like that instead of just straight up bergamot. So we're going to dump that into the hot water to let it steep. So I got my little thing of hot water. It's in there steeping. And then the recipe originally calls for 1 tablespoon of chopped fresh ginger, but I have candy. So the ginger isn't going to be as strong, which is fine because I often, when I'm doing a ginger drink, I add ginger liqueur, and this will carry some of your sugar. So we're just going to dump it in there. She has you have this steep for like 5 minutes before adding the sugar, but the problem is then the sugar doesn't dissolve. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the sugar. I'm only doing half a cup of sugar instead of a full cup of sugar because I've got, oh no, I lied. This might be a full cup of sugar. Anyway, it's going to be a very sweet syrup, but that's okay. And we're just going to stir that until hopefully the sugar dissolves. I'm not sure if I got the water quite hot enough. It cooled down a bit. So we're just going to let all that hang out. She would have you...
What's the intent that you're focusing on?
So I am focusing on bringing in money. I'm focusing on success in the projects that I'm working on, that we're working on. I'm focusing on success for the podcast. I'm focusing on success for our future goals. I'm focusing on success for writing. When you do the candied ginger, a lot of it will kind of sort of melt into the water.
You'll get kind of a thicker syrup with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It calls for 4 ounces of hot water and half a cup of granulated sugar. And so she has you actually heat the water, put it in the jar with the tea and the ginger, do your intent. Money, success, clarity, good luck. And then she has you like pour in the hot water and like steep it for 5 minutes and then pour in the sugar and mix until it dissolves. And then refrigerate covered at least 24 hours because you want that tea and that ginger to really get in there. And then you strain it, and the syrup will keep in an airtight jar in the fridge for about 2 weeks. I honestly, I've had it last longer than that.
What's the energy that the ginger brings? Can you remind me? Because I
ginger
blacked out during that part.
Ginger is very much, it's like money, it's success. It also has like some creativity fire. It's a very fiery, so it's like really going to fire you up. Like it brings in that, fire sign energy. And also ginger, if you're using, when you're using real ginger, there's a lot of healing because it's anti-inflammatory and so on and so forth. It's good for the stomach and, all kinds of things. So it's bringing in a lot of that. And then the bergamot is bringing in also those energies. And then the tea is going to bring in its own energy. This bergamot ginger syrup, you don't have to put it in a cocktail. You can put it in a mocktail. It, like I said, yes, it goes very well with bourbon or dark rum. There are non-alcoholic versions of those things. You can also just put it in tea. I also want to say before I know you're going to share about how you made yours, but this is why witches like jars, because we need to store our potions in jars in the fridge.
Well, I made a margarita because I wanted to.
I love a margarita.
And I had a sour syrup that I'd made a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that is a very similar process. I did the lemon peel and the lime peel and had them with the oils and the sugar ahead of time. And then I mixed that with hot water and some lemon and lime juice to make the syrup. And then strained it all. And it turned out really nicely. And then I'd also made a curacao, which is just an orange liqueur. And I was feeling a little like I need some fire. I need a kick in the pants. Coming up on spring here. So I wanted that fire of the tequila and that bright sunshine and the purification and all of that.
Yeah.
So I went
Tequila
with
will
my
do that.
citrus tequila margarita drink.
Nice.
And it's almost good.
I was going to say, show us the color. And now I'm going, I don't know what color that was because I think it's gone.
I mean, it looks like your standard restaurant plain margarita, a little yellowish color. Because I used reposado instead of silver because I don't like silver tequila as much as reposado. I like aged just a little bit more. And then the sour is pretty pale. Okay. It's got a little bit of yellowish tint to it, the sour, and then the curacao that I made is a deeper yellowish color. And there's pics of it on the gram, so you can go check them out right now and see what my syrups look like, and see what Shéa stuff looks like.
Yeah,
if you want
and I just have to. I'm just hoisting this up.
Showing it off right now.
Like, isn't that pretty? Like this amber color that this bergamot ginger turns because of the tea. And yeah, I think I'm going to probably throw another tea bag in here later. I need like a whole like kitchen for the podcast that I can just record.
Yeah, you do.
This is my podcast kitchen. I have big goals, big dreams.
Put that on the board.
Yep, I'm going to have to. I never thought of it till just this minute, but I need to be like Ina Garten. She has like this whole like kitchen on her property. That's where she records all of her like shows. Right. So deep thoughts. I have deep thoughts. Shall I share with you my final deep thoughts on syrups?
Please do.
So in my opinion, which is very humble but also right, making your own syrups... Woo! And I've only had a couple sips of the gin. Wow. What
margarita? I felt flushed.
I I know. I think I'm having a hot flash over here.
Woo!
Making your own syrups is like the easiest, simplest way to enhance your cocktail spellcraft and tailor it to your needs and your palate, because you can make a less sweet or more sweet syrup. You can add different elements to make it more to your taste, to make it more to your spell that you want to work. And it's also a lot cheaper than buying it pre-made, because you can make those small batches of syrups instead of having this big bottle that you bought, and I make so many different kinds of cocktails rather than just one cocktail all the time. I need lots of different kinds of syrup, so that would be quite costly to try and make, to try and buy all those syrups.
Well, and we'll do a future episode on how to save space and minimize the effort on what you need for syrups if you are using a lot of different flavors, because I have a thing that we're going to talk about. I don't know if I've told Shéa that we're doing that yet.
You haven't, but hey, I'm for it. I love it.
It's going to be awesome.
Because you're in a much smaller space now, really, because you're living in a city. You're living in Europe. And so you have minimal space.
A smaller kitchen.
And presumably a smaller fridge. I don't know if your fridge is smaller than Jim.
Yes, indeed it is.
Yeah. So choosing your ingredients with care and intent, adding the fire or heat, whether it be electric kettle, microwave, whatever. That's your cauldron. Using your wand, your spoon, or your whisk. It's pure kitchen witchery. This is the fun bit, man. This is the fun. I love it. And making your own syrup, it adds meaning and magic. It adds meaning to your magic. It adds magic to your life. And here's a thing that I never really thought about, but we think about it with tarot decks and things like that. You have to cleanse them before you use them, whether with your energy, if you're someone who is an energy worker, or like on a selenite plate, or with smoke cleansing, because you have to remove the other energies and imbue the deck or whatever with yours. Well, this is kind of the same. Like if you pick up some kind of syrup at the store that you're going to use in your cocktail, it either is like neutral because it's been made by a machine, and so there is no energetic anything going on, or there's other people have handled it. Energy has passed through it. So you kind of need to cleanse it a little bit before you use it for magic. So this way, you're imbuing your own magic right into that syrup. You don't need to do any of that. You just need to pour you into it, and the magic is there. And I love that. It's like this energy in this syrup, it's all you, baby. All you.
It's a fun journey too. I think I am somebody who really enjoys this kind of stuff, though. I love finding new recipes. I love the whole process of it. I love going and buying the fruits. But again, if this isn't something you can do for whatever reason, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It's all about that intent.
Yep. If you need to buy grenadine,
intent is there.
Yeah. If you need to buy grenadine from the store, do it. Don't be like, oh, I have to make it. No, you don't. No judgment. I would recommend maybe when you bring it home, put your hands around the bottle and it doesn't have to be anything specific. Just imbue your energy into the bottle. So you're just sort of cleansing it.
Yep.
That's it. Pop it in the fridge. That's fine. You're not going to probably find bergamot ginger syrup, but you might find ginger syrup by itself. But if you need to buy it, you're not into making it. But presumably if you're listening to this, or watching this, you probably are going, oh, I want to at least try that. So next time you need a simple syrup, or any kind of syrup other than maple, consider making your own and, see what it brings to your cocktail magic. Easy peasy.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Love it. Well, if you want to find out more about us, all our links to us, to Julia, Halina, Hadas, who we love.
Who at this point is practically a co-host with us, even though she doesn't know it yet.
She has no idea. But we'll put links to her, to the books, put the recipes, to the syrups that we talked about today. They'll all be in the show notes.
All in the show notes. There's pictures of our cocktails and the syrups and everything on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, follow us, like us, subscribe to us, share us, review us.
Yeah.
Comment. Tell us how pretty we are with our cocktails. Tell us how pretty our cocktails are.
If you want to know about how to make some other kind of cocktail, or if you want to need us to explain anything, let us know. But we will be happy to expand upon it.
Yeah, and if you have questions about substitutions that you can make that would keep the same energy, but if there's like an ingredient you don't like, we are there for it. So let us know. Easiest way to get in touch is DMing on Instagram. I check that every couple days. You can comment on YouTube. You can email us at cliffhangersandcocktails@gmail.com. But get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.
We would love to. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.